What's good, YouTube? It is Jay here, and today we are going to be taking a look at my Despia profile that I've been using in Master Duel for the last couple of duels, few duels in the Duelist Cup event that's been going on for the last few days. I wasn't originally going to play in the event, to be perfectly honest. I kind of fell off with Master Duel for just a little bit. Got busy IRL. I edit for a lot of different people now outside of my own channel. I do a whole bunch of things on the side for work, nothing crazy or whatever, but you know, a lot of Uber and a lot of driving and a lot of the other shenanigans. So I just haven't had the time to dedicate to this this event, pretty much. I heard it was pretty darn tough, pretty darn competitive. It starts off pretty easy in the lower brackets of the event. So I'm going to show you kind of what my deck has been kind of looking like. Now, this deck is subject to change. I kind of took out the Ecclesia and the other quick play spell card setup and tried to push for a semi more competitive approach, put a couple of new hand traps in and so forth and so forth. But I think this build kind of works best. I'm thinking about cutting this down to 2 because I feel like this and this work best as 3 and 3 and then 2. But we'll see. This deck hasn't failed me yet. So we're playing in the lower bracket right now. I'm gonna try to get a couple more videos of some of the upper bracket games that I do have eventually. We're playing against like some really bad TriBrigade players right here. A lot of the cards I noticed in this build were not very meta. I'm pretty certain TriBrigade Standoff is not a card that you're running your average well, you know, TriBrigade build. And not, honestly, my hand wasn't anything special either. I mean, we drew 1 Tragedy, 2 Poly, and then a Brandon in red, and an Ash. But I mean, it wasn't anything, you know, super special, super crazy. But don't get me wrong, this guy wasn't terrible per se, but he definitely made some very questionable decisions, I want to say. But for the most part, the duel is still entertaining at least. Because when I first saw the first set of TriBrigade cards come onto the field, I thought this was going to be a pretty tough matchup, pretty tough competitive match. Then I realized we only had like 9 cards in the extra deck, and I'm like, oh, okay. So unfortunately, we top deck the one of the 3 patchwork in the deck, and we already have 2 polymerization in hand, so that's kind of a dead card, really. But he used the Sure Eggs effect to banish my face down spell trap card, just I guess kind of just shooting for a random card to banish. And I mean, overall, this board really isn't that that threatening. He goes for a second Sure Egg, I guess realizes he can't use that effect again, and just right Gekis my face down Despia and Tragedy. So I'm able to get Oliver in hand from its search effect, and you know, eat a couple of direct attacks in the face. But I mean, like I said, none of the stuff that he was doing was really, well, you know, scary overall. And I also totally forgot about TriBrigade Rendezvous. I haven't played against TriBrigade in a minute, so I can't remember how the meta builds go. I've played so few in this game. No matter how many times I've gotten to Diamond, I've played so few, you know, TriBrigades. But in this build, we're running Guardian Chimera, which is one of the new cards that was released in this game recently. It was already in the TCG and the OCG and so forth. Chimera's an incredible card. You want to go Chain Link 1 Chimera, then Chain Link 2 whatever else, and then Chain Link 3 whatever else. You want to do that because, you know, Chimera can be Ash, which can also, I believe, stop its destruction effect as well. So I went Chain Link 1 Chimera, then Tragedy, then Dramaturge, basically, you know, preventing any possibility of being Ash. Now, Rendezvous had an effect I wasn't aware of that could prevent Wing Beast monsters from destruction. So, excuse me, I didn't know that was actually a thing. I was so ready for me to basically win that duel right then and there. But, you know, that's pretty much how the turn ends. We have Chimera on board. We have a Brandon opening your grave in case it's destroyed by a card effect or anything of the sort. And of course, this guy top decks Called by the Grave when I drop a Max C on him. Both of these cards are inherently stupid and should both probably be banned, honestly. But it is what it is. So he doesn't really have a whole lot of play here, if we're being real. I mean, he's already used, what, 2 Sure Eggs, he's gonna go for a 3rd. And gets rid of my Chimera, but which also triggers my Oliver from Grave, so I'm basically able to stay alive for, you know, 1 more turn. Which is, you know, it's great, I'm glad. But then he links off into the Farragut, and then he goes for the Link 3 that he's gonna summon that in a moment. But he makes a play for the Link the Link 3 TriBrigade monster. I truly do not know if this is the best decision he could have made, because I mean, I read over this card like 3 or 4 different times thinking maybe I missed something. I mean, and he also gets to draw for Farragut, but he has to put it back in his deck because the card Farragut literally says draw a card then place one back into the deck. So I don't know. I don't know what the plan was. But he does go for a special summon with the Rugal and gets a Karos on the field, but he's also negated. So I developed a cool little strategy here. I played branded opening, ditched the Despian Theater, and used our Despian Tragedy to basically get it back in our hand. So, you know, we're kind of able to play around that a little bit. I go for the Despian Quartus. And we're also able to pop or activate Ad Libitum's effect as well, but first off, we're gonna want to make sure we get the Quartus effect off to reduce everything to 0. So we're able to get Guardian Chimera back on the field again for the 3300 body. I mean, we didn't really have too many other options if we're being real here. Not too many other choices. But we're able to smack it pretty hard. Guardian Chimera is such a damn good card. I'm so happy to actually have it back in this, or actually in this game. And he scoops. And that's pretty much how that duel goes. This next one was surprisingly a lot more, well, debatably, more competitive-ish. It was against Dark Magician. Shout out Pawnee Puna, a streamer I watch. She loves playing Dark Magicians. But man, I actually drew a decent hand for the most part. I think I go first? Yeah, I go first. He ashes the Albion, which is kind of surprising. Normally, I've never seen anybody really ash Albion, which is just straight up a, an upstart. It's basically just an upstart goblin, pretty much. So, didn't draw a great hand once again. We're gonna go just literally set 3 and then pass turn, pretty much. At first, I didn't know what he was playing, then I realized he was probably playing Dark Magician when the Magical Circle showed up. And, Dark Magician shenanigans will ensue here. Now, I think he made I want to say he made a misplay here. You'll see in a minute. I think this is the turn that it occurs, but he's gonna do the typical Dark Magician shenanigans. I'm surprised to use Magician Souls to get the Dark Magician engraved and not summon the souls for that +2. I believe it's +2. But he gets Dark Magician on the field, and he uses his Magical Circles effect to try to banish my face down card, which just happened to be super poly. So we're able to go into our Masquerade, the Blazing Dragon, my favorite card in the game, probably because of that, those American tax dollars people have to pay to activate things. And kind of shut his turn down right then and there. So, Dark Magician, fun deck. I don't think it's very powerful. It doesn't have a lot of follow-up play from the experiences that I've had playing against it, even in like those Platinum matches. Yes, I played Dark Magician and Platinum before. Those Platinum Diamond matches, I played Dark Magician. He's gonna activate the Eternal Soul, get that Dark Magician back on the field. Pretty much the same shenanigans are gonna, incur. He tries to use the Magical Circle to banish my Masquerade, so I pop the Branded in Red and use its effect to basically fusion off everything into the Guardian Chimera. I love having this card in the game. It allows me to do so many plays out of certain cards like Magical Circle or even Imperm. So we're gonna get the pop effect, but then we're also gonna get the search effect from Tragedy. Then he goes in the Secrets of the Dark Magician. I think it's Dark Magic. I called it Secrets of the Dark Magician. But he fuses off his Dark Magician with an Iris Sword Soul into the Dark Magicians, which doesn't really do a whole lot here. We're able to get Dromnurge in our hand and pop a couple of cards for free. So. But popping the Dark Magicians gets you Dark Magician and Dark Magician Girl back on the field, so unfortunately we aren't really able to do too much damage-wise to her. But, we still have some follow-up plays going into the next turn. We're going to search a couple of cards, activate our Theater, go into another Fusion Summon. I think we summoned another Masquerade Dragon. Yeah, so gonna go into the Masquerade. Search out a couple more things, get another Dromnurge on the field. Oh man, I can't wait. I cannot wait for the other Despian cards to actually enter into this game. We're gonna have so much fun, all the branded spells and stuff. That branded opening pop or activation was a mistake. I totally didn't mean to do that. I should have just set it in past turn. It was a mistake to activate that. But we're good. We make our way around it. He doesn't have a whole lot of follow play. He actually activates Secret Village of the Spellcasters, which again doesn't really, do too much here because we don't really need spell cards right now. But it only negates the activation of spell cards, not the activation of spell effects. So our Theater is still, it's still live. So we have to fusion off into our other final Masquerade Dragon. Get rid of Dark Magician and Dark Magician Girl. Do a lot of damage directly. Almost. he's gonna get another deck back on the field and pay 1,200 in the process for it. So here's my favorite part of using this deck. I hit him for 3,300, knocking him down exactly to 1,100. I should have set the branded opening, but my favorite part right here was after he drew his card, he sat here for probably like a solid, I don't know, like 30 seconds. I think he realized he cannot activate anything because of the double Masquerade Dragons on the field. With 2 Masquerade on the field, your opponent is unable to activate anything if they have under 1,200 life points. They literally are locked out of the game unless they have like a kaiju or something. So it's so cheeky sometimes to do that to people. But that's the deck. I mean, overall, I love using this deck so much, man. It's such a fun time. I do have a build that I'm going to be using that's a little bit different from the one that we have here on screen. I'll show you that in a second. But overall, Despian branded shenanigans. Probably my favorite deck in the game right now, next to like Pendulum Magicians and the like. You know, it's not the most powerful deck, but when it goes off, it goes off. You could say that pretty much for any other deck. I would like to call it maybe like Rogue tier or tier 3, maybe. You know, it's a fun deck. It doesn't do as much as say like your Sword Soul. But I mean, overall though, it's still an insanely fun deck, I want to say. This is the other version I kind of want to play around with a smidgen. I mean, the only thing that really changes is we're throwing in the Forbidden Droplets. We took out the Albion, and man, compared to the other build, I can't really think off the top of my head of what else changed here. I think we just straight up threw in the couple of Forbidden Droplets. Yeah, looking at the build right now, I actually fully cannot remember off of the top of my head what's totally different about this. I think we put in a 3rd Tragedy or a 3rd Edge Imp, or something along the lines, but nothing too significant. I think the other version might still be a little more consistent. I might put the Ecclesia package back in just to have some more discard targets for our Albion, but I mean, you know, we'll see. I'll do another video on it when I get enough time to actually record before the festival is over. So hopefully you enjoyed this one, everybody. Be sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel for more gaming content. As always, I will see you in the next video. Peace.